Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer from Fremont. This is Barrel Aged Dark Star. This is what I consider to be one of the best barrel aged Imperial Stouts out there. So if you want to skip ahead to the review, please do. I actually just cracked the beer, and I was going to blabber on a bit, but then it actually turned out that it was way easier to crack. It actually didn't have this kind of wax. Well, it has wax, obviously, but like sometimes it's a whole to-do. And I could blabber on for quite a bit. So I'm just going to blabber on, and then you can skip to the review if you'd like. But so this is out of Fremont. They are out of Seattle. So it's actually really cool that they actually ship it all the way down to Florida. I got it last year, so hopefully they send more. We'll see. This is a 2023 vintage. I actually thought about saving this and do a side-by-side with Bourbon County, but then I'm like, the new Bourbon County is going to be like 4 months away. And I was like, yeah, screw it. We're just going to review this, and hopefully they send more beer. So what's my history of this beer? So I remember specifically just loving this beer, going to a bottle share. And so when you know about how this is a great sign of you know a really good beer at a bottle share. You guys are obviously, this is talking about a bottle share. It's not even like an intimate one. We're talking about like 20, 30, 40 people opening up tons of bottles, and you can't even try everything. But when you keep returning to a specific beer, and it's like, well, obviously, when you go to a bottle share, literally you're taking like I'm tasting every single beer, and but when you go back to a beer, that's when it's really good. And then I just kept going back to this beer, and I was like, what are you guys talking about? This beer is amazing. But then again, we're talking about like 10 years ago. So let's dig into this beer. 14.8%. They're barrel aged Imperial Stout. And yeah, very curious to see how this guy turns out. Pours dumb dark, as you can see. Yeah, that's like pitch black out of the bottle. Usually when you pour stout, you can actually with a bright shiny light, you can see like brown coming through. There's like almost nothing coming through, and you can see in the head. This head is extremely dark. I mean, that's easily like a dark brown head, completely opaque. Again, it looks like Bourbon County. Honestly, the head might be even be darker than Bourbon County, which is quite insane. So let's dig into this guy. Did I say 14.8%? Yeah, I did. I think I did. Anyway, there we go. Oh boy. Yeah, so that's exactly what you're looking for. I mean, like, big bourbon, caramel, Werther's caramel, molasses, a little bit of coffee, charred oak, coconut, vanilla, brownies. It's kind of like light nuttiness, almost like Ferrero Rocher, dark chocolate, espresso, toasted hazelnuts. There's a little bit of light umami character, almost a little bit of soy. Brown sugar. Yeah. Smells stickingly sweet too. So a lot of brown sugar characteristics, caramel. Also a little bit of again, woodsy and soy on the back end. But yeah, lots going on. I just, tasting notes are nice on this here. I have this really perfectly chilled. This is barely cold at all. Okay. Interesting. Okay. That's where they've gotten to with this beer, huh? Interesting. Okay. So initial impression, this beer is dumb drinkable. This beer tastes like a tiny-ish kind of barrel aged Imperial Stout. Full blind, I would have guessed this guy was 10%. This beer's full on 15. It really doesn't have as much body and chewiness that I'd expect from it, and then also just compared to something like Bourbon County, it really doesn't have a big, thick chew to it. It actually, for people into craft beer maybe about a decade ago, this is right up your alley. This is where more traditional barrel-aged Imperial Stout sort of sits. It's actually just a slight bit, or solid amount thinner than Bourbon County, but not this big, chunky, high-gravity, high residual sweetness, pastry stout nonsense. And not nonsense, I mean, I like that stuff too, but but this is like pure. Up front, big espresso flavors, nice integrated bourbon. Oh man! And then it goes on this really beautiful char woodsy character. It honestly tastes European. There's just extra oomph of malt that has this beautiful ashiness. I think American brewers are probably pushing more towards sweetness and more bourbon, more sweetness, more chocolate, right? This has this kind of mature flavor of it. And it's only a year old, but also mature as in a taster. It has this kind of cigar box and burnt and smokiness almost, right? Hints of dark fruit, dried dates, raisins, cherries. I mean, not a insanely thick beer. Yeah, not a huge beer. Objectively is huge. It's 15%, 14.8. But it has medium plus mouthfeel. Doesn't really, like, at first it seems like it's going to coat the mouth. But then the mid palate hits, and then it has this kind of beautiful, again, like, lingering wood, burnt, cigar box, kind of like smokiness almost. Yeah. I guess a good analogy was like if you have yakitori with those skewers and they, char the meat on there, but the wood also has this char on it. And like I guess like as you're biting it and you get a little nibble of that wood, it has this kind of like char woodsiness that's very noticeable on this beer. Beautiful integrated bourbon character. It really doesn't drink like 15%. Again, I'm really shocked that this beer sits at 15 because at highest I would guess this beer was like 12. Nice kind of rounded alcohol on the back end, a little bit like puffs of like bourbon fire, but nothing abrasive. Like I'm not really getting a burn on the back on it going down, which is strange because generally you're gonna get a big burn at 15%, but this again burns at like 10 to 12. Huh, interesting. Wow. What else is more to say? Really nice confectionery flavors up front. Brownie, like this bourbon-soaked kind of chocolate cake thing that I love from the best of bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stouts. Macaroon cookies, chocolate-covered espresso beans. Nice char, just, again, more of that smoky, burnt char character in the mid palate. It's kind of like, oh yeah, there you go. Now you get a nice, as it warms up slightly, you get a nice smack of this kind of like, what do I call it? Like a smoked old fashioned kind of thing. Because it has this like noticeable amounts of like bourbon on the back end. But it's like an enjoyable amount. Because it's like beautifully integrated in the beer. All of a sudden the alcohol shows itself. Instead of the poorer versions of barrel aged Imperial Stouts where it's sort of like, again, it's, I mean, again, the analogy is always like, it's like drinking two different products, right? Like, yeah, there you go. The good analogy is like a salad dressing. When you don't shake up the bottle and you pour it onto a salad and you have like oil and vinegar. So there's bites are just sour and then bites are just fatty with the oil. But if you like emulsify it, then it's sort of like, blended together. And the flavors here really well blended together. The bourbon barrel really integrates well with the base beer. Wow. Yeah, I would say in the end, only complaint is just it's not as full. It's not as just big and round and chewy as I like Bourbon County to be sometimes. But the complexity is definitely there. Yeah, this is up there. Let's go with 99. 99 out of 100. That's barrel-aged, Fremont Bourbon Barrel-Aged Dark Star. That's insane. It's just, I again, I don't trade for beers these days. I generally don't spend a lot of time. Like, this is not a cheap bottle. I don't generally, dish out a ton of money for like bombers of like barrel-aged Imperial Stout. Thankfully, I think more breweries are doing like 12-ounce cans or 500 ml bottles or smaller format, blah blah blah. But the complexity on this is incredible. Again, I don't know where the bourbon barrel-aged stout game is at these days, but this tastes like it was created about 10 years ago, and I hope it stays that way. Like, I love these beers for what they are. They don't have to get overly sweet. They don't have to have coconut and vanilla and like chocolate cake and nuts and vanilla, right? Like just barrel and beer, and then also to have it so elegant in its flavor. It shows like. It's a complex beer, and it's a beer that requires it's for sure a beer that requires an acquired palate, in the sense that these flavors of like char, burnt tire, it's a little bit rubbery, this ashiness that sort of sits on the palate. These are not generally flavors. Like, I mean, it tastes like a freaking cigar, like a cigar sometimes on the palate, and not for everybody, but I'm enjoying this guy. This is delicious. 99. Until next time, cheers. Love geeking in about it. Sorry for the long video. I try to keep it shorter these days, by the way, but this beer definitely deserves the blah 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 blah. So 99. Cheers later.